Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I'm excited to be joined by major talent here, internationally known. Bill Bellamy doesn't even need any introduction. I'm telling you, this book is amazing, and I hope that all of you get it. Top Billin' talks really about his entire career, over 4 decades in the music and the entertainment business. So happy to have you here. Welcome,
Thank you for having me, my brother. This is a really cool vibe. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you guys were, interested in sitting down with me and actually exploring this story. My memoir is really an interesting, ride through the 90s, and that's literally, how I came in the game.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I want to take it from the beginning because the opening, the forward, you have one of your boys that, Kevin, who says, so many of us looked up to you and continue to because you've been that hero to us. Case in point, I know you might not believe this, so I'm in clinic today already. I have a full day of work, and I'm talking to a guy 77 years old, all the way up in Sacramento, and he says, he saw the book, and he's like, I'm trying to get a copy of that. You would not a brother.
Are you serious?
You would not. He's like, I've seen him, Cat Williams. He started going on and on. You would not imagine. He's like, tell him I said hi. So just much love from
that's
Sac
super
Town.
cool. See, you never
people
know.
You never meet. So,
you never know.
Kevin called it. So talk to us about, though, growing up in Newark and what it was really like overcoming, just really what it was like, basically being on the streets in terms of a tough life.
Like, listen, Newark, New Jersey is a very rugged city. You know what I'm saying? Blue collar, a lot of hardworking people, a lot of immigrants. It was definitely a huge, civil rights vibe there. A lot of things jumped off. The riots jumped off in Newark. It was crazy. The Black Panthers was there. We had a very strong Muslim community there as well. Elijah Muhammad was very prominent at that time. And I'm like, wow, trying to figure it out. And, all you see is smokestacks, It always looked like our skies was gray. And we got a Saturday in Jersey was like epic because it looked like it was always cloudy. It was always a gray day. You know what I mean? So Saturday, if it's Saturday was sunny, you would hear about it till Wednesday. I mean, did you see Saturday?
Sure. No. And I grew up in Brooklyn, so I know
you get it.
Very, very, very similar. And talk to us about just really navigating the streets, really trying to not get on the wrong hustle, be turned to the wrong way. I mean, how do you feel you kind of found your way and navigated through that?
To be honest, man, I think most of it was my parents, because my parents were always on me about, not making a mistake or getting around the wrong crowd. And the wrong crowd was some of the most fun and dangerous people.
At the same time.
Like, to be honest with you, some of the most dangerous fun was with the wrong crowd. No, none of the corny people was fun. Let's be honest. So, my mom would say, that boy is up to no good. Why are y'all hanging out in that building? Why are you over there? You know what's gonna happen. And, you wanna have one foot in.
You want to be cool.
You want to be cool, you want to be accepted, but you don't want the drama that comes with it, right? And so what happened for me, I was always funny, but not trying to be a comedic guy. I just knew the neighborhood. I knew all I knew the drug dealers, I knew the characters, I knew the lady who was always looking out the window. I knew the dude who was the cop and the fireman on the block, and I would, imitate them and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I was always funny. And I believe that was my protection and my good luck charm, because even though I was with some of the most dangerous people, they still wanted to laugh.
Right, exactly.
They was like, yo, man, do the one about when we was, remember last year when my man fell in the manhole? Do that one. Like, we always had them hood stories.
Yeah. Exactly, absolutely. Yeah. So now how do you get from there to going to like a private school and going into something like economics? Because that's not a trajectory. Had I read the book, I wouldn't have thought.
Because for me, my parents was like, the public school in my neighborhood was not good enough for what my parents was thinking. Right. My mom would always say, I can't afford to do all these great things, but what I can do and I will do for you guys is make sure you get a quality education, because she felt like education would give me the key, right? So my mom found like this other little, instead of going to the public, PS 13, she made us go to this little private school, which I didn't want to go to, which I hated, because now your friends turn on you because you're going to the white people's school. That's what they used to call it, the white people's school. So you think you better than us, you go to white. I'm like, I don't even know them. I don't even know them. I just go there. My mama told me go here, and you got to try to figure out how to get home and navigate between this private school and the public school kids. And but hindsight, it was a great move, because I feel like that opened up my eyes to different communities. I felt like, I got a chance to meet different types of kids, you know what I'm saying? Different nationalities. Like, my neighborhood was mostly 90% black and Spanish.
Right, because things are mostly segregated.
That's it.
So.
We was all together. And then all the Spanish people, you can't tell them they not black. You know what I'm saying?
They walk the walk.
You Puerto Rican, Louis. No, I'm not. I'm black. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. So from there to a place like Rutgers and majoring in economics, again, I didn't even see that coming. How did you get on that path?
So here's my thing. I changed my major. I tell my kids this: you're going to change your major. Whatever you think you're going to like, you'll probably change it twice, right? Because when we're young like that, we don't know what we want. We just have something in the ballpark, maybe an idea, right? So I changed my major several times. At first, it was computer science. It went from that. I was public relations. I didn't like that so much. Then I said, you know what about economics? Because I was thinking about finance and stuff, and I wanted to learn more about finance. Because at that time, I was thinking that I would love to work on Wall Street. Like, I thought like Wall Street would be bomb, to be a trader or to work in finance in a level that was big, high value. And so that was why I chose economics. So then when I started learning about economics, and I took a couple classes in marketing, then I knew that marketing was really like my thing, because it taught me how everything is a brand, how everything is a brand and how everything is marketed, right? So I was like, damn, that's kind of dope, because what if I was a brand?
Exactly. Long before people were saying that.
I was like, what if I was a brand? Like, what if Bill Bellamy was like McDonald's? What if Bill Bellamy was like Pepsi? What if Bill Bellamy? So I started thinking of myself as a brand, and that's how I started to market myself. When I decided no longer to do comedy, or no longer to pursue a business career. When I wanted to do comedy, I was like, well, what? I'm gonna be clean.
Sharp.
I'm gonna be funny, and I'm gonna always bring joy to people. Like, I want to be consistent. Every time when you see me, I want people to smile.
Absolutely.
And that was the beginning of it.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but at MTV, is that some of what sort of had you always branding? Hey, this is Bill Bellamy, so people really knew your name.
So for instance, when I first started MTV, nobody knew my name, right? So I said, yo, I gotta get famous. I gotta get famous. So I said, I'm gonna make sure I say my name, and I'm gonna be almost yelling at you, right? So like, if you think back, and then I'd be like, what's up, y'all? I'm Bill Bellamy. How you doing? Like, I would be like, bah! Like, I'm just jumping through your TV screen, because I felt like if you were flipping through the channels, I wanted my energy to stop you and be like, who is that?
Who is that guy?
So I'm like, hey, welcome to MTV JAMS. I'm your boy Bill Bellamy. Today we're in Panama City for spring break 1992. We got Coolio, we got Dr. Dre, Snoop Doggy Dogg, and Alanis Morissette up next. That's how I was doing it back in the day.
And I mean, since we're into it, talk about how important it was just in terms of breaking the color barriers, because most of us didn't even know what MTV was.
Yeah, now people will probably be like, what is he talking about? But at that time, MTV was so new, and MTV wasn't really catering to the urban market, right? That wasn't their demo to us, per se, right? So Michael Jackson couldn't even get a video played back then, you know, initially. And so when they started to kind of open the doors, I was beginning of that crack in the door where they were like, we're going to use a guy like a Bill Bellamy to present this music to the kids. Cool. What people don't realize was that was an opportunity not only for me, but for my people.
Sure, right, absolutely.
There was no way you was selling 1 million albums without MTV. There was no way you was gonna sell gold. All these artists from SWV to Prince to Babyface to Tevin Campbell to Al B. Shore to Guy, Blackstreet, Jade, Brownstone, Brandy.
Right, even Janet.
Janet Jackson. There's no way Janet Jackson would sell out arenas without MTV because that was sort of like the vortex that you had to walk through to get to the other side of millions of fans.
Right. How did you see yourself in that role? Because so many times people would have been like, oh, I'm just going to job and work hard, but you really saw it as like a mission to really basically pull us up.
Yeah, because I just knew like, for guys like you and me, I wanted to represent us, right? And I wanted us to win, right? So I didn't want to make no mistakes. Like I wasn't drinking. At this time, I didn't even drink alcohol. I never messed around with any of the girls that I worked with. Like I was always thinking like one mistake and it's over. You know, all we do, you know, when if you're in the Army, you hear click, you on that mind, it's a wrap. Say your prayers, it's a wrap, right? So I always was afraid to make a mistake because I didn't want to let, you know, guys like you and me down. Like I was like, yo, they giving me this opportunity. I gotta represent us. I gotta be on my A game. I'm gonna be the best interviewer. I'm gonna be my ultimate best. And what ended up happening, that hard work and doing my homework on the music and my discipline kept me in the game. You know, I never got in no trouble. And I was just always there for my artists. Like I was really, and I still am, like a fan of the music. So if you had an album coming out, I really sincerely listened to your album, and then back then we used to, back in the day, right? Remember we used to open up the album cover, and you can see like the producers you work with. They don't even do that no more.
No,
I miss that.
Right. So going backwards to go forwards, we are at the Apollo. I grew up in New York. This is a big deal, but this crowd is rowdy, they're raunchy, they're foul.
Are rough.
And you're getting ready to go on. Sort of take us back to that moment and how important it was for you.
Okay, well for me as a comedian, it was my debut to television, right? So that was like epic, like, oh my God, Mom and Dad, I'm gonna be on TV tonight. This is crazy, what? But I said, I wanna be on the Apollo as a special guest. Because I didn't want to come on there like I was an amateur, you know what I'm saying? And then they always booed in. So I waited till I started building up a little bit of a name in New York, and so then I came on. And special guest, Bill Bellamy, right? But they booed everybody that night. The night that I go on the Apollo, real people got booed. Like I'm making this up, but like Luther got booed. Jodeci got booed. The clown, the lady with the juggling, everybody kept coming back down the stairs. I will never forget this. When you're in the green room at the Apollo, you walk up the stairs to your death. Oh wow! Right? Because they rub the thing, and they give you the thing, and then 2 seconds later you back downstairs. So I'm sitting there trying to think about what jokes I'm gonna do. And the person, I never forget who, I wish I could remember who it was. They were already famous. And they was like, yo, it's y'all told, all right, we got blah, 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 let's go. They go up the stairs, 3 seconds later, they clothes all ripped off and shit, like they ran to a lion's den or something. And they said, all right, Bill Bellamy, you're next. I was like, I gotta go up them stairs. And I never forget, my mom came to see me, right? My mom was out front. I was like, they cannot boo me in front of my mother. I was like, I cannot get booed in front of my mama, man. It's crazy. And so Sinbad was the host. So Sinbad said, you ready, man? Well, whatever you do, man, don't get booed. I said, thanks a lot, Sinbad. Thanks a lot. Thank you for the positive energy. So he makes me rub the thing, and so what I did was I started with my closer, because I can't risk trying to build up. I said, I just got to jump out on them and got them. And I started with my closer, and that got me in, and boom, I got them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Standing ovation.
Yes.
No, absolutely. And how do you feel like you found your voice? Let's talk about people who inspired you. And I know there's some people from back in the day, whether it be Pryor or whatnot. How did they speak to you? To what things you feel like you sort of started incorporating?
Wow. You know, two people like totally influenced my storytelling. It would be Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor. Because as a child, you know, we didn't, you know, it was theater of the imagination kind of sort of, right? So I would listen to the albums in the basement, you know, you can't turn it up loud. Like I wait till my mom and them, they playing cards and they too loud. You know, they can't hear me listen to Richard Pryor curse and talk about Africa and talk about vampires. And what I loved about Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby, they made you see what they were talking about. And I was like, man, they are so funny. And then when Eddie Murphy came along, Eddie Murphy had that plus another gear. He was dynamic, he was charismatic, he moved, he did voices. And I was like, yo, man, comedy can be fly. Because you could never, like, when I was a child, tell somebody you want to be a kid, what's wrong with you? Take your silly ass.
That's crazy.
You going to work.
Exactly.
You know, like to be a comedian, it sounded like you was a failure already, right? You want to be a clown?
Be a clown downstairs.
Be a clown and wash them dishes. You know, like. It was not fly at all, trust me.
Right, and I want to pick up on that because you're making me think about the fact that you were there working though, like with your dad and stuff like that from early on. Hustle, but work hard. Talk to us about sort of those principles because they really never left you. Then I think you were working on.
My dad, man, my dad always, you know, my dad was my best friend, you know, and you know, even when I was a child, just my dad was like heroic to me. Like my dad was like 9 feet tall to me, like, you know, he had the biggest hands. He could lift a motor with his hand, you know. Like, I always thought my dad was a superhero, right? So, you know, when I used to go to work with him or go to work with him or do anything with my dad, it was like amazing, right? And he was always telling me how to, work on cars or do a job, do it right. He gave me all these little anecdotes, you know, if you do it right the first time, you don't have to go back. You know, they're all in my head. They're like little snippets of his voice. And one of the things about him, he worked very, very hard, but he was super kind and he was super generous to people. You know, he would help you in the snowstorm. He would, you know, come jump your car if your car broke down. If you need brake pads, he'd put it on the car. Or if you had an electrical problem, he'd try to fix it, you know, and help you out. He was that guy in the neighborhood, like, that was always, oh, don't worry about it, I'll help y'all, what's wrong? Oh, the roof came up, I can't do the roof now. I put something up there till the roof man come, you know. I'll do a little bit until you can get I can't stay up on that roof now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my dad, you know, literally is still, you know, in my mind, my hero. He gave me so many good values as a man, and I try to pass those on to my son, you know, and I try to be an example of what is possible to my children. Like, you can be everything you dream of, you can do it, but you have to do the work. Like, it's just not like they're just gonna give you, oh my God, you're so cute, here's everything. It don't work like that. No.
You gotta put it in. So here you are doing all this stuff with MTV, and talk to us about meeting like Russell Simmons and how that relationship developed and then ultimately became your movie.
Well, so Russell Simmons, you know, had a really, really impactful influence on my career because he, at that moment in hip hop culture, was sort of like the Dick Clark of hip hop. Like he was connector. He put out music. He signed artists, and for whatever reason, he loved comedy too, right? So he was like, "Yo, I want to make comedy cool and bring that into the hip hop sort of environment." And so I was lucky to be at the right place at the right time and be able to be a part of that culture where, you know, you might as well say I was on Def Jam. Like, you know, if you had LL Cool J, Bill Bellamy, DMX, Method Man, you know, Redman, like they were all on that label, and technically I was on that label, you know. We got Bill Bellamy, you know, the pretty boy of comedy or whatever they was calling me at that time. And so I was hip hop, you know, I was flavor, you know, I talked about stuff in the culture that was so funny because it was so real, because I was of the culture, right?
Right, absolutely.
So Russell saw that in me, and he was like, I swear to God, I swear you're going to be you're going to be a star, you're going to be huge, and I swear to God, I promise you, if you keep going through what you're doing, the ladies love you, cool to the fellas, you're going to be hot, watch. And then I'll call him and be like, Russell, this is Bill. Who? Who? He never knew who I was. When I'm like, you managed me. Oh,
I did. Exactly. How did it feel to be getting your own movie and really essentially a complete star? Although you're working with mad talent, like you said, Max Julian, working with Bernie Mac.
Well, doing How to Be a Player was one of those movies that I think was meant for me to do. Like, I was the right guy at the right time. You know, I think, you know, the stars kind of lined up for me because I was doing what was so interesting. Like, before I got How to Be a Player, I was doing, like, you know, starring, you know, special guests and Bill Bellamy. Like, I was doing like this, and this was my first time, you know, being the lead, which was like, oh, snap. I'm big. Number one on the call sheet. Oh my God. This is it. And then I read the script and everything, and I was like, wow, I gotta make this a funny movie because women ain't gonna wanna love me for this movie because it's too much. It's too much going on for women to kind of digest it, right? So I was like, yo, I gotta make this guy like super charming, funny, and like likable because there's no way you could just enjoy seeing him have the best day ever.
Exactly.
And then I said, but then I gotta keep it real for the fellas because this is the joint that every guy would want to be. This is the kind of guy that I think every man would have the fantasy. If you could have 9 chicks in a day, who would? That's like, who don't want all them snacks?
Right, exactly.
So that's why I think that movie worked for me because I think I was just the right guy, and then that's coming off of Def Comedy Jam, and then, you know, when I look back at it, you know, I'm really happy that I did that movie because every day of my life people say, dog, you taught me how to be a player, you taught me how to be a player.
If you could, I know this has come up before, but if you could do a 30th edition anniversary, would you do it?
Yes.
Would you? Because you helped produce that one.
I would do it for the culture, you know. We're working on something very, 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 very similar that I think you're right, you're hitting on it. And I think it'll be perfect because the timing is right. A lot of those people who have grown up, it will be a hit movie. And I think we got to change the game because now the game got a little weird.
Sure, to say the least.
You know, we got social media, got all this kind of stuff. Back in the day, remember the big ass phone I had?
Hello.
Now they got little slim phones, and now you got Instagram and Snapchat and
Everybody hits hard places and challenges that sometimes people don't appreciate how difficult it is. Share to us at least maybe how you pull yourself through when maybe not everything's going your way.
Wow. Okay, well, to be honest with you, I think the hardest things are the things you don't see coming, you know. And so the blessing for me, I think, is my parents, the fortitude that they had struggling as a young black couple. My mom had me when she was 16. My dad was 19 at the time, about to be 19. So they was young. That and my environment, like, you know, we had to be tough. You couldn't cry. If you fell, you had to get back up. You know, never let nobody disrespect you. Never let nobody, you know, make you feel less than. Right? That kind of energy was my fire. Right? So when I was going through all these tough times and difficult things, I just kind of like went to a space of protection in a way. Like, it's hard to explain because, like, to me, loss of life is just something no one ever prepares us for, right? No one ever prepares us for what it's like to lose your mom. No one teaches us when we're a child that you might lose one of your best friends. Somebody could get hit by a car or, you know, be in a bad accident or get shot or do this, that, and the other. Nobody prepares you for the loss of your dad or your brother, and things like that. So those blows are heavy, like, bah, like, and a lot of people don't come back. There's such a jarring experience for folks that a lot of times is overwhelming, the grief, the loss. And for me, I think my tough, you know, upbringing gave me some type of, like, just to put my hands in the coals, you know what I'm saying? Where, you know, even though I was distraught in this, I just put my hands in the fire and pushed up, just put them right in the fire and just stood up on it. And I just did it a day at a time, like a day at a time. Like, you're not getting over it. Right. People tell, I'm sorry, I can't believe. You're not getting over it. So let's stop playing. But you can get through it. But it's you got to chip at it.
Sure. So many people that you've known from growing up have faced some of those types of things, and you and Tupac were close. Yeah. And that was obviously, very
That was my guy, bro. That was crazy. Like, So Tupac, people don't realize, like, I was very close to Tupac in the sense where we had so much in common. Music, comedy, New York. Right. I would see him in LA, I see him in New York. He was doing movies, I'm doing movies. So we had a lot of synergy, right? And so the irony of what happened was, and this goes to show for people that's watching this and who will get a chance to enjoy your moments with people, like, stop thinking that you got another moment to say what's up. Enjoy your time with your friends, your family, your mom, your dad, whatever, because I literally, like, talked to Tupac on the phone maybe a week or so or two. I interviewed with him at the Mondrian Hotel. Right. He was in a great mood. Appreciated me doing his video with him. He wasn't in it, but it was his video, Temptations. I did that music video. He wrote me a letter to do it. All of us did it for him. He was at Rutgers at the time. Right. He gets out, love, love, love. Right. We kicking it, we in LA. He's about to shoot this movie. He's doing this movie with Tim Roth at the time. I'm doing a movie, forgot which movie I was doing. We talking from the sets back then. And he was like, yo, B, man, I promise you, boy, next movie you do, you got to put me in it. I'm tired of this shit, man. You think you're not gonna get bigger than me. We just talking shit. Always. And so, cut to Vegas. Right. It's like, what? And I just said, he gonna pull through. Right. Like I was like, oh man, if anybody, this is just gonna be like some goofy stuff, and he gonna be back at the music award show. And it took me a long time to actually accept the fact that he was no longer with us, because I just didn't want to believe it, because I literally had just seen him, so it was sort of surreal for me. Right. And it's a valuable lesson about appreciating our people. And and really going hard in your life. Sure.
Another great, because you had this foreshadowing as a kid, Michael Jackson. That you would one day be driving a bus and you actually get to interview him.
I never understood why I had that dream, right? It's so weird. It's a true story. I had a dream that I was driving the school bus and Michael Jackson was right here, the little seat right here. Right. Michael was here.
Not the short bus.
Not the short bus, the real bus, the long one, right? So the brothers is back here, and I'm driving the bus, and Michael's telling me to make a left, make a right, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember seeing all these other people in the back, like a bunch of fans and stuff, and I'm driving the bus like this. And I woke up, and I'm like, what made me dream about Michael Jackson? That's crazy. Like, ain't no way in the hell I'm gonna ever meet Michael Jackson. Yeah. Cut to. I'm talking to him like this. Hi, Bill. What? I was like, wow, this is crazy. So when I interviewed him on MTV, everybody was bugging because Mike didn't do a lot of interviews. He was very private and very sort of guarded about what he would allow people to know about him and blah, blah, blah. But he just, for whatever reason, thought I was really, really funny and just super cool. And I think because I did such a good job with Janet, that he was like, oh, you took care of my sister, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna do it with you. And I'm sitting right here and he's right there. I'm like, oh!
Do you feel that was one of those pinch me moments?
Yeah. But you know what wake you up is all that security. Like,
exactly.
Like if I was Michael Jackson, it'd be 30 dudes in here lined up like this, boy. Y'all be like, man, there's a lot of people hot in here. Yeah, he had a lot of security.
Since you mentioned Janet, also another incredible relationship. She trusted you, called you, took you on tour. How unreal is that? Every guy's dream.
Well, see, I wanted to go on tour with Michael too, but Michael ain't called me. So Janet called me, and what was so cool about that experience was it made me realize how big she was, right? Because I knew Janet Jackson was super popular. Like, just how we look at Beyonce right here, right now, that was Janet Jackson in 92, 93. Super huge, correct? And so going out on the Velvet Tour rope Velvet tour, going out on the Velvet Rope tour, as a young comedian, I was like, yo, the Jumbotron, whoa. You can see yourself out the corner of your eye. You like, yo, this big. Yo, they got fireworks, boom, boom. I said, yo, I gotta get big like this. This is what I was saying to myself. I said, this is the level. Oh shit, this is the level. Yo, she got like real security backstage. They got chefs. Yo, they got big dressing rooms. Oh snap. They got tour buses, bro. I said, I'm in the game. And I had my little laminate.
Exactly, all access.
They thought I was like one of the crew.
Absolutely. In terms of fortitude, though, we can keep going back to that. You're at a Def Jam party and can't get in. Before you were quite as famous as you were. Right. And somehow that gave you the resolution of that'll never happen again.
Oh, no. Everybody need to get kicked in their face.
Right.
You know, everybody wanted the easy road. The true story about that was Def Jam used to always have a Christmas party in New York, right? You know, you're a Brooklyn cat. You probably heard about this. It was epic. Right. Everybody was going. Everybody who was famous was going. I'm talking about Young Jay, Young L, Young Mary, Special Ed,
LL, of course.
LL Cool J,
Mary J.
Naughty by Nature. All these cats is coming up, and I'm not famous yet.
Right.
So as soon as I get to the door, boom, we at capacity.
Right.
As soon as my man said that, here go Mary. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. I was like, dog, you just said y'all was at capacity. He was like, for you, we at capacity. I said, ain't this a And my boys was with me. They was like, yo, B, they ain't gonna let you in. I was like, nah, my man really ain't messing with me. Like, and it was cold. I was hot. You could feel heat coming off my forehead. And I was like, that's all right. I said, all right, that's cool. You got that one off on me. I said, that'll never happen to me again. I'll never go somewhere where they would deny me. I said, I got it. That means I got to get my weight up. I got to become somebody. Right. I ain't famous enough to get in there. That's what I took it. I didn't take it as, give up on the game. Right. It just gave me more like, yo, I need to get famous then.
Right.
So I don't have these, at capacity situations.
Exactly.
And I got there.
Sure. Hosting shows, your own Comics Unleashed and things like that. What things do you enjoy the most about that?
Hosting is fun because the thing about hosting that is the most fun to me is just because you set the tone, right? You're the point guard of the show, and you get to keep the energy going. And I have a lot of energy, if you can't tell. Okay. So hosting is fun for me. Like, it's easier, you know what I'm saying? I can be funny in this moment. I can ad-lib, I can improv, blah, blah, blah. And then I can come right back to the script, keep the show going, blah, blah, blah. And I've done it so many years that I'm really good at that, So that's fun. But stand-up to me is the best. Because it's my personality. Like, I don't have to go, oh, I can't say this, oh, can't say that. Right. So like, I can just do Bill Bellamy, and that's what's gotten me here, being honest, taking a topic, put my spin on it, and boom, people hear it, and when it's real because people start dying, laughing, they start telling people, they start talking, so it's all good.
So this whole cancel culture, what are your perceptions about it? It seems so against what comedy all represents, which is people should not be bringing their feelings to the club.
I tell everybody, when I came in the game, the thing was to be honest. Right. The thing was to push the envelope, to make people think, make people laugh, make people learn, right? This cancel culture is like, it's a tricky grenade because it's like, where's the line? It's subjective. Sure. Like, I can say the same joke to you, say the same joke to him, you happy, he mad. So it's to each his own. If you're coming to see comedy, be loose.
Exactly.
It ain't serious. It's like, this ain't science where, oh my God, he's trying to change an atom. No, this is to make you laugh. We're talking about culture. We're talking about perspectives. We're talking about things in a humorous manner. That's why you go to see comedians. Stop being so serious.
Exactly. Talk to us about your relationship with Dave Chappelle, because he's hilarious.
Oh my God, I love Dave.
And the counterpoint is just really incredible when you talk about how he interacts with you.
The funny part with Dave, to me, is like, he always looks up to me as his big brother, right? And it's just been like that the whole way, because when Dave started comedy, I was already rolling.
Right.
And he was young, you know, he was probably like 17, 16. He was like, man, it's amazing how you never forgot me, man. And I'm like, Dave, how could I forget you? Because I was young. I was an infant. You know what I'm saying? Because he couldn't get in the club. Like, literally, he was underage, but he was in the clubs and stuff like that. And he had to get home early and da-da-da-da-da. And so I always looked out for him. And that kept us tight the whole career. And, you know, I'll send him a text or he'll call me, invite me to a party or whatever, and this, that, and the other. And, you know, and he's a great guy. That's another guy that pushes the envelope too. It's like, you know, that's his whole thing, you know, making you think, taking real topics and flipping them. That's Dave Chappelle. And I don't want him not to be Dave. I like what he does.
So when brothers kind of make a mistake, or at least society says, hey, that's no cool, what's your advice, or how do you take it in terms of, like, I know I can't say everything I want to say, but by the same token, I need to be able to be myself? I
really say what you want and ask for forgiveness. You know what I mean? Why we got to keep tiptoeing?
Right.
I think we need to be provocative. I think we need to take chances, especially as an artist. I think it's important for us to be honest who we are. Not don't do it just to get likes or, you know, to say something mean or whatever. I don't mean that. I'm saying, but be your authentic self. Because if it's authentic and it's truly you, people will resonate with it. And they'll know where, you know, it's a feeling about something when it's truthful.
Sure. Yeah. And then sometimes people will step over a line. So we were all there with the infamous slap and things like that. Did it seem like that was just way out of character? You've known these guys, both of them, Chris and Will, from way back in the day.
It was totally out of character. I mean, at the Oscars, you're at the biggest moment in your career. You've worked so hard for this moment in your whole life. You're gonna put that on it? I mean, I think if Will could go back and look at it again and be honest, he wouldn't have done that. Like, it wasn't that deep. You know what I'm saying? And for him as an artist, to me, it's like, look how you've manicured your life. Look how you curated a career. Look how you've opened up doors for people and shown what kind of artists we could be. Sold movies worldwide. You broke the color barriers on television, in movies, and showed that we can be action heroes and this, that, and the other. And then you go dramatic. You've been denied 2-3 times, and you have put in great performances 2-3 times that you should have gotten it already. And you finally get it, and then you do that. To me, it's just like, it felt self-sabotaging. Like, that's ridiculous. That's, to me, ridiculous. Like, why would you wait this long? Do that at the cookout. Knock your cousin out by the grill. Don't do that at the house. You know what I'm saying?
That's not the place. That's not the forum. So here, the teacher, you know, was the student. So let's go back to Any Given Sunday, and as Jim Brown is sort of running that kind of intervention, and you're right there in the smack middle of it, both of your friends, LL and...
But you gotta understand, in anything in life, there is going to be competition and egos, especially with alpha males. So how could you be a doctor if you wasn't an alpha? You know, how could I become this guy if I wasn't an alpha? Alphas, we are like go-getters. We are outside the box thinkers. We are the people that do the stuff that other people dream of.
Get it done.
We get it done, right? But when you put a bunch of us in the room, that's a bunch of rams clacking around. You know, that's a bunch of lions who go get the big piece of meat, right? And so when you're in a movie, that energy is there. It's football, it's testosterone, it's posturing. You know, it's like, who's the biggest star on the set? You know, who's the strongest? Who's the fastest? Who can crack the most jokes? So it's a bunch of shit going on, and then it got out of hand. And the funniest part was OG Jim Brown, R.I.P. You know, you had to go old school. You had to get the kufi. Look here. Y'all gonna cut the shenanigans up. And nobody backtalk Jim Brown. For whatever reason, you just be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. What we do, sir, from here? Y'all gonna talk and shout. Y'all gonna go to work like young black kings, you understand? We gonna cut all this out. Now get out my trailer and go to work. Everybody left like they had just got scolded by their daddy. Only Jim Brown could do some shit like that.
Absolutely. We got to do a few shout outs. So the show is called Music and Medicine, and your book really parallels your whole career in music and picks a song for every chapter. Talk to us about like what it means to you and when you hear those words, music and medicine.
Well, music and medicine, I really think is wonderful because music is medicine. You know, music to me is the thing that feeds your soul. It is the vibrations of the music that we relate to outside of the sounds. It's the vibrations, you know what I'm saying? And medicine has the ability to heal us. Medicine has the ability to give us an opportunity like music does, right? Music gives you an opportunity to change your mood. You know what I'm saying? You could put on a great song right now. You're like, man, let's go out. Bill, hey, bro, great interview. Time to go out. You could put another song on and be like, man, that was the worst interview I ever had in my life, man. Golly. And it's the same thing with medicine. Medicine can change your life. You know what I mean? You come in and heal you and give you an opportunity to live. And then sometimes you might have done the wrong thing with your life, and the medicine will tell you that we can't do that for you. You oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So I think music and medicine, they kind of are, you know, they're symbiotic. Is that the right word?
There you go.
They're symbiotic.
See, look like
I went to college like a motherfucker. Every now and then that education, bro. Symbiotic relationship. Boy, my professor would be proud of me. I pull that out.
And your mom had worked at a pharmaceutical company, which is like mad crazy.
Mad crazy.
You know, definitely.
She hated pharmaceutical, but worked there. It's the craziest thing ever.
The other thing that I wanted to make sure we touched on, though, was just being yourself and being true to who you are, about how important that is in terms of now, how to be a player all the way to being a dad. Why should every guy have a daughter?
It's the best. Every guy, if you're blessed to have a daughter, it will change your life for the better. Like, it just gives you a love that you've never had before. It challenges you on certain levels that you've never experienced before. Right. You grow as a man, you know what I'm saying? And it's something you would never know unless you have a girl. And that's because, like, you know, you got your wife, you got your mom, but this girl came from you too, right? Like, so she's a part of you, kind of, sort of, you know what I'm saying? Right. So you see some of your stuff in there too. Exactly. Like, all right, I know that move. Exactly. Okay, now, hey, you know. But then there's an unconditional love that I think is really wonderful, especially for men to experience. Like me and my daughter, like, I feel like we have such a wonderful relationship. It starts as from just, you know, little. And I remember reading this book, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was saying that your relationship with your daughter is her introduction to what type of man she will want in her life, good or bad. Right. And I was like, well, I want to be a good example of what she's deserving of and how she should be treated. And that's how I've worked with my relationship with my daughter, because I want her to get a quality man. I want her to know that there are men out here that are capable of making you feel special, loving you, you know, learning from, and vice versa, you know. And she's like, always says, Dad, I love you so much. You're my best friend. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. You don't know what your kid's gonna be like. I hate you. What's wrong with you?
It's wonderful to hear you talk like this. And like I said, I feel like you've been a hero to so many of us and really kind of stayed on that straight and narrow and continue to always be positive, always put it out. Our shout outs, Barry Katz, that's actually who had introduced us first time to Malibu. Yes. He killed it at that charity and things like that. Killed it, you know, it was just amazing. Be Smooth up in Sacramento.
Yeah, that's my guy too.
Joya.
Shout out to Be Smooth,
exactly.
Shout out to Barry Katz.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to all the people that's been supporting my podcast, Top Billing. Yeah. We really kicking some butt right now. Getting great guests and great conversations, from music to healing, physical fitness stuff, politics. Like, we getting these really candid conversations. Like, people come and kick it with me and they just like open up and just like really get real. Like, they really get real. Snap. And it's a beautiful thing, because I let people run. I let them be themselves, and I like to get those kind of confirmations of like how important we are. Sure. Like what you're doing, you know, what I'm doing, what we're doing that complements the culture. And and hopefully inspires other people that will see us and be like, oh man, I could do that too. Yo, I could do that.
Absolutely, yeah. Big shout to Joya and Chris.
Yes, thank you
who put this together. Yeah, I mean, I feel very honored that you would even consider, accepting the interview and things like that. And I think the last question, I promise, is that what advice would you give some young cat just like you, who's got that energy, got that fire, loves comedy as a way to express themselves and things like that, to make it over such a long period of time, because this business slays?
Well, I would say even if you don't want to be a comedian, you just have a dream about something, just love it. Like, just love it. Whatever it is, the love will get you to the money. Like, you can't just do it just to make money, because if there ain't no love in it, you ain't gonna have no fortitude to get through the struggles to get to your dream. But if you already love it in your heart, that passion is the air in your cell. That passion is the gas in your car, right? So like, my passion got me here. Like, just the fact that I wanted to get out the hood, the fact that I wanted to represent every black man on the planet. Like, I wanted brothers that looked like me to see that it was possible. Like, I wanted people to be like, okay, well, he came from the projects, he came from this, and he on TV.
Right.
He a movie star?
Right.
He a what?
He did what?
Right. So that was always my thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I can't go to the barbershop and represent cats that getting they fade, or you know what I'm saying? If I'm on a block and I see the garbage man, or I see my man on the FedEx man, be like, yo, Bell, what's up? I see you, baby. You out there repping. That's everything. That's right. Cause you can't. I always wanted to be the dude who was the common man's hero, the regular dude, the substitute teacher, the plumber, the electrician, the barber, you know what I mean? Them dudes are good people.
Yes.
And I always wanted to be the hero to them. I never wanted to be like, oh, Bill Bellamy, you know what I'm saying? He got all that money. He don't mess with us no more. You know what I mean? That, you don't want them to do it. When they do their shoulder like this, they really uptight with you. Yeah. Right. Oh, I already heard about him. You know what I mean?
He got his face.
Yeah, he tripping. I think he eat pizza with a fork. You know? He don't even fold it. You know what I mean? You can't eat pizza with a fork in New York. You crazy, they'll kill you.
Right, you don't do it. I love it.
Please tell me you don't have that fork, B. I'm like, no, man, I just wanted to cut it. Well, cut it with your mouth, B. Don't do that, man. Exactly. You look crazy. Exactly. You look Hollywood right now. Let the oil get on your shirt, man.
It's okay. Let it drip.
Let it drip. See, you gotta let the oil go down your arm, B.
Then it's real pizza.
If your arm, if your elbow, if your forearm ain't got oil on it, you ain't eating it right, B. You gotta dip that joint. My bad.
No. I love it. You heard it here from him himself, Bill Bellamy. Please get a copy of his book, Top Billing, where all books are sold, by Bill Bellamy. This covers 4 decades of this young man's career in music, entertainment, comedy. He has really been a hero to all of us, and as he likes to say, a common man's hero. So many of us relate to him. And don't just buy the book, actually pick it up and read it. We need to read more. Yes. Thanks so much.
Thank you, my brother.